80, I'm not sure the Gallup poll has changed much, but it used to be 85% of us are disengaged and unhappy at work. And I would want to see like either they change or they make it happier at work, because that's a better way to live a life.
And that's, Pilot, my software is very much in that vein. It's, basically, we believe that you deserve and can be happy at work, and that we want people to feel powerful at work, because happiness is sort of like a second or third level order outcome, right? Mm-hmm. Of different behaviors and actions that then produce the happiness, right? And people sort of like look for the happiness like it's a pot of gold at the end of a rainbow, rather than do the work that they need to do that would actually generate the feelings that would then result in the happiness. So, second, third level outcome of happiness. And so that's where, I think a lot of the thing is everyone's like, oh, well, like big companies suck and work sucks and HR sucks. And it's all about like, it's strange to me, because I'm like, well, they don't have to. And and the people that are like, the thing is, big companies are full of employees. Like, why don't employees make it better? It's always sort of like management or some top down thing has to change. In reality, our point of view is employees have a lot of responsibility. And one of the big things that's changed that universities and graduate schools are not keeping up with the pace of change in the world, unfortunately, although I'm a big supporter of education, is that you have to be very self-directed in your career. And the idea of like employee experience, employee engagement was the thing for like a long time. The new thing now is everyone talks about employee experience, treating like a customer and what's the end-to-end experience, which is all great. But the experience is also sort of what you make of it, right? Walt Disney World has an amazing experience, right? Like there's no trash, there's like people to help you. It's kind of wonderful. But you could have a crappy time at Disney World if you didn't go on the rides, or you had a bad attitude, or you didn't want to, like, you wouldn't stand in line, or you threw a fit, right? Mm-hmm. So even the best experience still requires sort of a willing spirit and a participant, right? Mm-hmm. And that's what we're trying to educate to people, is to say, hey, like, part of this is you have your part, right? Your responsibility and your mm-hmm. ownership of your career and your experience at work. And if you want more flexibility, figure it out. If you want more feedback, go get it. If you want a different relationship with your manager, change it. If you want to, like, get the resources you need, advocate for them, right? Mm-hmm. Meetings are a waste of time, make them better, or don't go to them, right? Mm-hmm. And it's just really about that individual responsibility. It's kind of how I've seen my career. I've worked at companies, some of the companies I've worked at have not been overly well run, right? But I still made a big difference, and I had great jobs, and I learned a lot, and I made good money, and I got to grow. And I wasn't waiting for the company to figure it out. I was proposing. I think I've had 3 or 4 jobs at like 3 or 4 different companies where I have written the job description.
Oh, wow.
Most people never have written a job. Like, what job do you want? Propose it. Most managers like, oh wait, you're talented. You want to stay here and do something? You think we need to do this? Great. Right. And that's what I did. But most people say, oh, they'd rather just, swipe like they're on a dating app left and right. Oh, I want this job, or I don't want that job. Oh, this one's pretty enough. This one's not. Right. And they get like kissing a lot of frogs, rather than say, well, what do I want to do right here, right now?
Mm-hmm. A lot of us, it is easier for us since we're on the other side. As entrepreneurs, we have to try different things. We just make things work. Mm-hmm. But then when we're as employees, even when I was the department head, so many people, even the executives, come to complain to me. And it almost feels like I used to complain a lot too, because when we complain, we expect others to fix our problem. Mm-hmm. So how would your software, that is a great idea, by the way, how does it play into the role of helping them to step up? Because our human nature is just not to change. I think we're programmed to screw up ourselves. That's just how humans are built. It's not that we're lazy, some of us maybe. But how would that change, make them to have small changes and then help them to grow slowly? Like they won't be able to jump right away.
Well, I think, economists assume humans are rational and self-interested, But humans are nuts. We're all irrational. We make dumb choices all the time that are not in our self-interest, and we self-sabotage. And that, so behavioral economics is a really fascinating field about how people actually behave, right? Often not in their self-interest. And so with Pilot, we think about it like, if you've got a complaint, like if you're my manager, right, and you don't give me good direction, I could complain about that, right? And a complaint sort of discharges it, right? It's sort of the discharge of anger or shame or guilt or something else, right? Problem is, if I think that you're messed up, right, and you're a crappy manager, then I'm sitting over here, I'm like, well, Mina's a crappy manager. What can I do about that? Not a lot, because Mina's messed up. If you take responsibility, right, and say, which is different than fault or blame. A lot of people collapse responsibility with blame or fault. And it's not to say it's okay that you're bad at giving instruction or direction. It's just saying, I'm going to do something about it. I'm not willing to tolerate this. I'm not willing to deal with this. And so instead I may say, hey Mina, like sometimes I feel like, when you give me projects, I'm not always clear and I'm bringing you the thing that you don't want. I'm not happy and you're not happy. Can we sit down and write in the Google Doc together the expectations? And I have 10 questions I want to ask every time I have to start a new project. So we're on the same page, right? That's me taking responsibility. Now it may help you be better, it may not, but it's me saying, let me fix something. There's a saying, I have some friends who are sober and they're in Alcoholics Anonymous, and there's the saying that when you start to point at other people, there's a saying they say, you clean up your side of the street. Don't worry about his side of the street. Don't worry about her side of the street. Clean up your side of the street. We all have a house. We all have a front yard and a little sidewalk. Pick up the trash, water the lawn, plant some flowers, clean up your side of the street. And that's, I think, ultimately probably the most important competency if people are listening to this at work, no matter what industry or role or goal you have. Clean up your side of the street. Be responsible, right? Get poor direction, make it clear, put it on paper, right? Make some assumptions, document them, get in sync, check, ask, right? Push back, whatever it is, negotiate for resources. And that, that's, a big part of how I see the future of work changing. Isn't necessarily this goal that for 40 years, management consultants have tried to make managers better. I don't know if we're going to have better managers. I think we can have better employees that can meet managers halfway.